So you may have seen in my last videos, or maybe from some other content creators, the July Gacha Revenue Chart, where Zenless Zone Zero made a total of $96 million, with Wuthering Waves coming in at 6th place, which is still amazing, making $29.5 million, which is an extremely great number, and I think that honestly, it could go even higher in the future. But there's been some new information that's come out about some of these other games, which could be a big problem for Wuthering Waves, and it just kind of puts into perspective the kind of size of all of these other games around Wuthering Waves and what they have to compete with. And recently, you may have seen there's been a lot of posts and videos about me being a Kuro shill or a Hoyo shill or something like that, mainly going with the narrative that I always shill Kuro Games and Wuthering Waves, glazing it, saying it's the best game ever. Well, in this video, we're going to be doing a bit of Hoyo shilling today, because a lot of this news is to do with Zenless Zone Zero. Now, there was this post on the Zenless Zone Zero Reddit saying Zenless Zone Zero's total revenue for July was estimated to be $306 to $348 million, which is absolutely insane, and obviously it's way higher than what's shown on the Gacha Revenue Chart. And obviously this is because I think this takes into account all of the PC players too. It's just insane to be saying that amount of money. So in this video, we're going to be going through the GameLook article which covers this, talking about how this could affect Wuthering Waves and whether Wuthering Waves actually has any chance in the future whenever it comes to the revenue chart, and what's going to happen with the overall future of Zenless Zone Zero and just these other Hoyoverse games. But before I get into this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoy it, and also go over to my anime channel and go subscribe to that. Obviously we're releasing a ton of new videos about anime, so I definitely recommend you guys go check that out. And let's get back into the video. So as I said, there was actually a post on GameLook, which is a Chinese site, which pretty much talks about the overall revenue of Zenless Zone Zero. And pretty much it says July new game revenue list. Jukeling broke 12 billion, NetEase made a big profit, Tencent and Jingdong each made some gains. So again, this entire website is going to be translated by Google Translate. So again, guys, don't take this information, super seriously. Obviously, a lot of it could be mistranslated. But again, it does give us a really good idea and the general information coming from Zenless Zone Zero. So obviously there's going to be a lot of spelling mistakes and just wrong words. But at the same time, it definitely shows us how much money that these companies have made. And also, if you guys know Stick, this is actually where I found this whole document. I'd definitely go recommend watching his video. Obviously, he goes through it too, and he obviously trusts GameLook with a lot of this data. So I would trust it too. It pretty much says that GameLook's reports for July may be the month when the fierce competition for this year's summer, I think I'm supposed to say game season, is at its peak. At the beginning of last month, GameLook counted that more than 20 new games were scheduled for release in July. It was a rare occasion that the three giants Tencent, NetEase, and Xiaomi, I'm pretty sure that means Hoyoverse there, joined together, and all three major companies launched new S-level products this month. All signs indicate that this July is destined to be filled with smoke and heavy casualties. So again, they're saying that this is going to be a big battlefield, and that all the gacha games are going to be going after each other, which we definitely did see in the revenue chart. Obviously, these are some very high-performing numbers. We've got Love and Deep Space, battling out with a lot of the top games, such as Genshin Impact and Honkai Star, who have lost money, which again is absolutely amazing. And it says, indeed, looking back now, the domestic market is basically dominated by Tencent, NetEase, and Hoyoverse. GameLook combined data from multiple third-party platforms and found that in July this year, there were 6 mobile games worldwide who estimated monthly revenue exceeding 30 million yuan for the first time, 5 of which were Chinese companies. So if you don't know how much that is, that's around about 4 million United States dollars, which again is absolutely insane, especially for a mobile game, and that 6 of them actually managed to reach this, which is absolutely amazing and is super surprising to see. And again, they keep going on to say that, the month of July was dominated by Tencent, NetEase, and Hoyoverse. Obviously, these companies are going to be some of the biggest because they do make a lot of high-performing games, and also Tencent and NetEase just have a ton of games in general, whether they're doing good or not. They literally just have a lot of them, so they do make a lot of profit off of that. And they say that the best performance in July is undoubtedly the highly talked about Zero, which is Zenless Zone Zero. As a new game of Xiaomi, they're talking about Hoyoverse here, the game was highly anticipated before it was launched. In the first month, GameLook's estimated revenue on all platforms, including PC and PS consoles around the world, reached an astonishing 2.2 to 2.5 billion, far ahead of others. Now, obviously, we just talked about 30 million yuan. That was quite a lot of money. Over $4 million is quite a bit, but 2.5 billion is on another level. Now, if we actually look at what 2.5 billion is, it's, as the Reddit post said, $348 million in a single month, which is absolutely insane. And obviously, it is a release of the game. That's probably one of the bigger reasons why there's a lot more revenue this month. Obviously, it's at the top of the charts with 96 million just for mobile. And, that was to be expected as it's a new game. A lot of people are going to be very hyped for it, and also Hoyoverse is just a very well-known company and just trusted in the gacha space overall because, people coming over from Genshin Impact, Honkai Star, they were interested in what this game was because it has a similar style, they have like similar animators and, you know, people working on it so that they can keep this kind of Hoyoverse style going, which obviously interests a lot of people to spend this amount of money. And obviously it worked. They made over $340 million, which is absolutely insane. And it goes on to talk about some of the other games that were comparing with it. And obviously Zenless Zone Zero just kind of destroyed a lot of the market going on there. But how does this actually compare to Wuthering Waves? And is it a big problem with them? Well, obviously in some of my previous videos, I looked at this pocketgamer.biz article talking about Wuthering Waves sailing past 100 million in under 2 months. And that can probably tell you where it's kind of at the moment. Obviously, 2 months includes the actual release of Wuthering Waves, and it made $100 million compared to Zenless Zone Zero's $340 million, which was just made in a month, and it's also the release of the game like Wuthering Waves was. So again, 100 million in 2 months versus 340 million in 1 month. You can kind of see which game is doing better here. And yeah, Zenless Zone Zero is absolutely killing it. And obviously that is just great for Hoyoverse and a lot of Zenless Zone Zero players. Obviously, I still play Zenless Zone Zero quite a bit, and it's a very enjoyable game. Although a lot of it has kind of gotten boring since the release, because obviously there's just less to do, and you know, you're just stuck with events and new character releases. But overall, I think it's a very good game, and I can understand why it actually made this much money. But I reckon it's going to be going down in the future. Now, most of this is to do with, you know, the future updates and what's going on with Zenless Zone Zero. If you haven't seen, they've got some really nice characters coming out. They've gotten Bernice, and they've also gotten another one called Caesar King, which again, they both look like amazing characters, and I think they will be high-selling characters, you know, in Zenless Zone Zero. But again, I haven't really seen much other content to do with the game, and I think it might fizzle out a little bit, especially with the new stuff going on in Honkai Star and Genshin Impact 2. Obviously, we had the release of the new update, but we also had some new drip marketing for some of the new characters, which is Fei Xiao and Lingsha. Obviously, they both look amazing, and I think they will be massive components in the game in the future. And I definitely think that will bring up the revenue for Honkai Star. And obviously, Genshin Impact has the whole Natlan thing going on very soon. So again, that's going to bring up a lot of the revenue for Genshin Impact. As we saw, they both actually lost money. As you can see, they're on 36 and 35 million. They lost quite a bit of money. And I think this was tactical by Hoyoverse, literally just to, you know, make room for Zenless Zone Zero and to get more people to play Zenless Zone Zero. Because if Genshin Impact and Honkai Star had 2 big updates, then I think a lot of people would have just been like, I'll just keep playing those games because I enjoy the game. But this time they actually, like, I think tactically decided to release some dead updates, making people go over to Zenless Zone Zero and try that because it was a little bit of something new, and pretty much getting people hooked on it. So again, it's a very good move from Hoyoverse here, but I think that would definitely mean we'll see Zenless Zone Zero going down. Whether that means they get knocked off the top spot, I don't know. Maybe they could stay up in the top spot just by a little bit. I think the only games that are really going to affect this is Genshin Impact and Honkai Star that could go above, or even Love and Deep Space could go above Zenless Zone Zero, which would be quite funny to see them at the top spot because a lot of people have been talking about that game recently. As for Wuthering Waves though, we do have some pretty big banners. Obviously we've got Zheji coming out very soon. She might already be out by the time this video comes out. So again, that's a pretty big update. And also we had some really cool characters teased too, which I can't wait to see in the game. And I think that will definitely go up to, I think, 29.5 million, which is a bit of downtime. And I think Wuthering Waves also had some issues with the iOS charts. Now, do I think it will beat Zenless Zone Zero? It could do in the future. But so far, looking at all of this combined data, it seems like Zenless Zone Zero is doing much better than Wuthering Waves. And a lot of people out there calling me a Kuro shill. You know, I'm being very positive about Zenless Zone Zero here. I think they're doing great. I think the revenue completely outdoes what Wuthering Waves made. And it's really good to see. So again, let me know down in the comments what you guys think. Do you think that Zenless Zone Zero is going to fall off in the future? Or do you think it's going to stay up on top? And that, you know, maybe we're going to see Zenless Zone Zero, Genshin Impact, and Honkai Star all in the top 3 space, you know, covering it for the next couple months. But again, I don't really know what we're going to see. Obviously, the revenue chart is pretty unpredictable, and there's a lot of games that just kind of pop up out of nowhere. And yeah, we'll just have to wait and see what happens with that. But yeah, as I said, if you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And go visit my anime channel as we do a lot of anime content, as I said. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.